Hello students, welcome once more to online video class for class 10 computer applications. Today we are going to study in the chapter functions. The topic is actual and formal parameters and what are the different ways of defining a function. Different ways of defining a function is very important because in the question it is mentioned to design the function in which way. So we need to follow the instructions given in the question. So you should be aware of how to design a function. So we have three different types of functions in which we can design it. First one is designing a function in such a way that the function receives some input and it returns some outcome to the caller, means parameterized function. Second variety is designing a function in such a way that the function receives a value but does not return any outcome to the caller. It means it will be also a parameterized function, but actually it is not a return type function. Now third category is designing a function in such a way that it neither receives a value nor returns an outcome to the caller. It means non-return type function. Function will not return any output and function will not receive any input also, means non-parameterized. So starting with actual and formal parameters first. In the previous video I had explained how to call a function from another function. So whenever we call a function from another function, we need to pass some values if the function called is parameterized. So while calling a function, from the caller function, whatever value we are sending or passing as a argument, that is known as actual parameter. And the called function, the argument which are present in the called function, or we can say the argument received by the function called, is known as formal parameters. The definition of these two parameters, the parameters which are described in the function definition to receive the value are called formal parameters, whereas the parameters described in the caller definition, that is the value passed to the method or function, are known as actual parameters. So actual and formal parameters I will explain in the coming programs. So now we are moving to the very important topic of this chapter, function, that is how to design a method according to the given instructions. So there are three categories in that. First category is designing a function in such a way that function receives a value and returns outcome to the caller. So whenever a function receives any input, that function is known as parameterized. So designing a parameterized function that can return an outcome to the caller. So when if the output of a function is sent or returned to the other function, that function is known as return type function. So we are going to design a return type function. With one example, it will become more clear to you. We are going to design a program, write a program to find factorial of a number using a method that receives a value and returns outcome to the caller. So now the program, is already designed in my system, so I will show you the program directly. Question you have already seen. See the question once more. Write a program to find factorial of a number by using a method that is receiving a value and returning outcome to the caller, that is parameterized function. Sometimes I am using the word function, sometimes I am using the word method. So you should not have any confusion. Function and method both are same. So we need to design a program to find the factorial. So class name I have mentioned factorial 1. Now, according to the question, we need to design a function which returns a value. We know that factorial of a number is an integer value. So the return type of the function will be int. We will not mention here void. Generally we mention the keyword void when a function does not return any outcome. But in case a function returns any outcome or any result to the caller, then the data type of the function should not be void. It should be the data type depending on the value returned by the function. Since factorial belongs to integer value, so this is the reason int type is mentioned here. Name of the function is fact. You can give any name. Now, according to the question, we need to design a function that receives a value and returns outcome. Since the function returns integer value, so instead of void we will mention int. So return type is int here. Now the function receives any value. We know that to find factorial of a number, we need a number as input. So int x, int is the data type, x is the number received. Now the logic of finding the factorial you have already studied. Declare two variables I and f. I will control the loop from 1 up to x. For finding the factorial of a number 4, we need to multiply all the numbers starting from 1 up to 4. That is 1 into 2 into 3 into 4. Since here we are going to find the factorial of x, so we need to control a loop starting from 1 up to x. So from 1 to x we need to cover all the natural numbers and we need to multiply them. So I will control the loop from 1 to x. Since we have to find the product of all the numbers from 1 to x, f is declared as 1 to store the product. Now the logic to cover all the numbers from 1 to x. Start the loop from 1, it will go up to x and I plus plus. F equal to f into I. That is the logic. So f will store the factorial. When the loop will be over, we need to return the factorial. So return keyword is used and after that value returned is f here. So whenever we design a function that is return type, we don't use print statement inside the body of the method. Instead of print statement we use return statement. Return statement will send the outcome of this method, that is the result of this method, which is factorial of x, to the caller. Caller means the method in which this method is called. So we have designed the function according to the question. Function is return type and it is parameterized. Now this method will be called from another method. So we need to design one more method I have designed main function here. Now, our objective here is to find the factorial of n and m. So n and m are initialized with 5 and 8. Factorial of n will be stored in P and factorial of m will be stored in Q. So two more variables are declared. Here you can see both the functions are instance functions. Means static keyword is not used in fact method and static is not used in main method. So while calling a non-static method from a non-static method, creation of object is not required. This is the reason after the declaration of variable, we can directly call the method fact without creating the object. So fact is called since fact method receives a value, that is why we are passing one value. So in this case, n is 5, so 5 is passed. So when compiler will compile this line, first it will search where is fact. This fact method should be present in this class. It can be after the void main or it can be before the main. Compiler will search it. So when the search will be made, compiler will find fact here. For calling a method, we need to fulfill three conditions. Name of the function should be correct. Second condition is the argument received should be equal to the argument sent. So fact method receives one integer value. So we need to pass one value in the caller method. So number of arguments sent should be equal to number of argument received. Third condition is that their data type should be equivalent. Since the above method fact receives integer value here, so we need to pass a integer value. That is why n is passed. So n belongs to integer value. So data type is also matching. Now all the three conditions are fulfilled. Name of function is correct. Number of arguments sent is matching with the number of arguments received. Data type of the argument sent is matching with the data type of argument received. Now a connection will be made from the caller method to the called method. In this case, copy of n. Here n is known as actual parameter. While calling a function, whatever values are sent value is known as actual parameter and the value received, which is x here, x is known as formal parameter. I think now actual and formal parameter should be clear to you. Now when compiler will execute this line, it will send the copy of n which will be received by x. So x will receive the copy of n which is 5. So here x will become 5 and when this block will run, f will store the factorial of 5 because I will run from 1 to 5 and all the values from 1 to 5 will get multiplied and is stored in f. So f will store 1 into 2 into 3 into 4 into 5 and the result will be sent using this return statement. So factorial of x, that is the product of 1 to 5, will be sent. So where it will be received, the value sent is received in the function from where this function is called. It means factorial of 5 will be received here. So the factorial of 5, that is 5 into 4, 20, into 3, 60, into 2, 120. Result of fact n will become 120. That will be sent from the fact method to the main method. To receive this 120, we need one more variable p. That is why p was declared. Now we can print the factorial of n, that is p, with a message. Same process we can repeat by calling fact again, and this time we are sending m. So again same process will repeat, but this time m, that is 8. 8 will be sent. Now here m is the actual parameter. Now the copy of m will be received by x, which is a formal parameter. This time loop will run 8 times from 1 to 8, and f will store the factorial of 8. Now factorial of 8 will be returned to the caller method. So factorial of 8 will be stored in Q. Now we will print the result of factorial of m, that is Q. Now we have seen in this program how to call a non-static method from a non-static method. We don't need to create object of the class. Now see the result of this program. Now we can execute it. Since we don't have here a static method, so for executing the main method, we need to create object of the class. So after the creation of object, when we right click here, we have two options here. We can execute fact also, we can execute main also. When we execute fact, since fact is return type method, so first I am executing fact. When we pass any value here like 4, then factorial of 4, that is 1 into 2 into 3 into 4, result is 24. So 24 will be returned in a box here. Here terminal window will not open because it is a return type method. But when we run main method, main is non-return type method. So in this case you can see, when we execute main method, in main we are passing two arguments n and m one by one. So first it is displaying the factorial of n, then factorial of m. In the main method you can see once more, when we had called fact and passed n was 5, so factorial of 5 was 120. 120 was stored in p. Then we had printed the result of p. This is the first line here, factorial of 5. After that, when we had called the same function again, but this time we had passed another value m m was 8 here, so factorial of 8 was stored in Q. After that we had printed the factorial of 8, which is the second line. Now this program is over. I hope you would have understood it. So here we have seen how to design a function which receives an input and which returns an outcome to the caller. Now we will see the second category of method. Designing a function in such a way that function receives a value but does not return outcome to the caller. Same question we have again. We are going to find the factorial of a number, but we will design the program differently. So what is the change here from the previous question? Function will receive a value like the previous program, but not returning the outcome. Previous function had returned the outcome, but this function will not return the outcome. Now to design this program, see what changes are required here. Question is same. Only the change is function will not return any outcome. This is the most important thing, not returning outcome. Class name I have changed factorial to. Function name is same. In previous case we had written return type int, but here we will mention return type as void because the function does not return any value to the caller. Since the function is receiving a input, so other things will remain same as the previous program. Logic is also same, but in the previous case when we had mentioned int here, then we had not printed the value. Instead of print statement we had written return f, but in this case when the function is not non-return type, in that case we will not use return statement. Instead of that we will print the value. So print statement here factorial of x, since x is the input here, so we will give a message factorial of, then x, value of x will change according to the input, equal to f, since f stores the result. So the change here is two changes. In the previous case when the function was return type we had mentioned int, but here non-return type function has void. Second change is, in case of return type function we are using return statement in the end, but in case of non-return type function we are using print statement. That is the change. Now the main method same two values n and m we have, but this time I have designed the program in such a way that main is a static method. So in this case we are going to call a non-static method fact inside static method main. I have already told you in the previous video, when we call non-static method from static method, then creation of object is compulsory. So this is the reason first we need to create object of the class. For creating object of the class we need to write class name, that is factorial 2. You can see here same class name we have here. So class name, object name OB here, equal to new keyword, again class name, blank parameter list. Object is created. Now fact will be called through the object ob dot fact. This time again we are passing n. Now when compiler will execute this line, first it will search where is fact. So fact is found here. Then it will check the number of arguments sent is matching with the number of arguments received or not. Fact function receives one argument, that is why we are sending one argument. So number of arguments are same. Now the third criteria for calling a function is their data type should be equivalent. We are passing integer value here, and the function fact also receives integer value, so data type is also matching. So all three conditions are satisfied. Now the copy of n will be received. Here n is actual parameter. The value sent from the caller method during calling a function is known as actual parameter. So copy of actual parameter, that is n, which is 5, is received by formal parameter, which is x. So x will become 5. F will store the factorial of 5, and in the same method printing will be done, that is factorial of x equal to f. So when this function will be over, result will be printed on the terminal window. After that we are calling the same function again, but this time we are passing another value m. So same process will repeat. Now copy of m will be received by x, that is 8. F will store factorial of 8. Now with this statement we will get factorial of 8 printed on the screen. Now we will see the result of this program. Okay, now we can see. Since main is a static method, so we don't need to create object, we can directly run it. So after executing, you can see we have got the same message, factorial of 5 and factorial of 8 is printed on the screen, just like the previous program. Now the third method of designing a function. Question is same here, but this time we will design the question with different way. That is, design a function which neither receives a value nor returns outcome to the caller. Since function does not receive any value, so it is known as non-parameterized, and the function does not return any outcome. That is why we will mention void as the return type. Now see the program. In the previous program we will make only a few changes. Question is same, to find the factorial, but in this case function does not receive any value. So because of non-parameterized method, here we will not receive any input. So argument list of fact will remain empty. And the function is non-return type. That is why we will mention void. To find the factorial of a number, first we need a number. Since we are not accepting any input here, so in the body of the method, number is already initialized. X equal to 5. We are going to find the factorial of x. Now f and I, as usual, like the previous program, logic is same, and printing. We are going to print the factorial of x. So just like the previous program, same function is copied, only one change. In the previous case, we had accepted input in the function argument, but here x is initialized in the body of the method. Now in the main method, we have to simply call the method fact. Since main method is non-static and the fact is also non-static, so for calling a non-static method inside non-static method, no need of creating object, we can directly call it. So when we execute main method, then when compiler will search fact, it will find fact here, then it will check the number of arguments which fact receives. Since it is blank and we are not sending any value, here also we have blank. Now in this case this block will run. When this block will run, it will find the factorial of x, which is already initialized with 5. So we will get a message here, factorial of 5 equal to result. Now we will check the result. This is the result of the previous program where we had found the factorial of 5 and 8. Now again we need to create object because we have non-static method to execute. So after right clicking, we have two options. We can run fact also, we can run main also. First I am running the fact method. By running the fact method, we are getting factorial of 5, and by running the main method, again we are getting the factorial of 5. The reason is obvious here. Logic to find the factorial is written in fact method. So when we execute fact method, then this block is running and it will find the factorial of x, that is 5, and it will also print the result. But when we execute main method, in main you can see we have only one statement, fact. So here we are calling fact. So when fact is called, compiler will again execute the same method, fact. That is why in both the cases we are getting the same result. Now see one more change here. If we design this method as static void main, in this case when we compile it, then you can see it is not compiling. The reason is, you can see the reason mentioned here. Non-static method fact cannot be referenced from a static context. It means non-static method cannot be called from static method. So how it is possible? In this case, we need to create object of the class. Only then it is possible. So now, first we will create the object of the class. Now through the object OB we can call fact. Now this program will compile, and when we execute we will get the same result, that is factorial of 5. Now I hope you would have understood how to call a non-static method from static method and how to call a non-static method from non-static method, when to create object and when there is no need to create object. So today we have seen 3 methods of designing a function, and what is actual parameter and what is formal parameter. So please revise these topics that we have discussed today. In the next video, we will cover some more topics of this method. We have topic to cover, that is pass by value, pass by reference, and function overloading. These two things we will cover in next video. Till then, take care. Thank you.